Good morning, everybody. Cowboy here. It is 8:30 a.m. EST, and we're looking at the markets here. Let me go ahead and maximize this screen a bit. And let's go ahead and start with Bitcoin as we usually do. Let's see how it's doing. Bitcoin. So it's the first day of the quarter, yesterday being the last day of the prior quarter. And a lot of times you'll see some funky price action. You'll see a lack of price action. Things not really moving that much. As a lot of calendar, uh, you know, as things fall off the calendar. So we are back into the swing. It's October, and for Bitcoin, that usually means Uptober. Now, we did have that fake out breakout that was a little painful with Bitcoin. And let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit so we can take a look at the way I'm looking at Bitcoin. It's just level by level, as I always do, keeping it simple. Remember that not everything is going to obey rules all the time in trading, right? So despite the fact that you might have like a textbook trade, this is the perfect breakout, it just might not go your way. It's just the way trading is. It's funky like that. So what we do is we understand probabilities. We understand how things operate. We know, okay, this percentage of the time I'm going to win these trades, and then you take a swing. Sometimes you strike out. It just happens. In the meantime, you take your loss and you move forward, look for the next trade. Now, typically, I know my minimum risk to reward technically is 1-to-1, but I tend not to take those. I tend to aim for 2-to-1 or higher. I can take a 1-to-1 if it's a real good trade, down the middle of the plate, obvious trade. I might put some risk on with a 1-to-1 and then just be pretty tight with the actual stop movement and make sure that I don't have a chance for price to go too far into a negative territory. But generally, I want to see at least like a 1.5-to-1 or something better than 1-to-1. However, if something's below 1-to-1, I am definitely not taking that trade. So, and that's just how things go. And when you have risk to reward, like the trade I took a couple days ago at 3.5-to-1, I can lose 3 of those, win the 4th, and still be profitable. So here we go with the levels. We have some levels that price needs to beat in order for me to begin to be bullish, right? And these are nothing more than some prior highs. And I'm going to pay more attention to certain ones here. Okay. Some key levels here where if price goes above, then I'm going to be bullish. And if price goes below, I'm going to be bearish, right? So the first place, and I don't know why I erased this yesterday, but in between 52,000 and 66,000, right? In fact, I'm going to actually denote here about 60,000. That's an important level. Going back here, you got a lot of protection around 60,000, so I will denote that as well. All right, so above 60,000, below 66,000. Now I'm going to say 65,000. It's more of a fair number, but now we need to beat this new kind of top here. So I'm going to be flat in this area. That means that I am not bullish or bearish. I'm just flat. When you go, when price goes below 60,500 or so, then I'm going to be bearish. And obviously below that, same thing. Now, once you get towards, start to get towards like the mid 40s, I'm expecting a bounce upwards, right? In the meantime, though, we talked about this many times, and we still are in a calendar sense at a time when Bitcoin should be getting pretty bullish. So we want to keep an eye on that. Let me fix this for a second here. We got a funkiness. Fix my chart here. Man, how wide is that? There we are. I keep trying to manipulate my chart, and some of the trading view issues is messing up there. So you got to fix that. Forgive me. All right. One moment. Okay, so above this flat area, I'm going to be slightly bullish, which is between 66,700-ish and like say 71,000 or 70,100. Okay, so I'm going to be like mild bullish. So not really thinking it's going to break out, but like it could break out. Having my eyes open to, okay, this might be time for it to go, right? And then when price goes above 70,000, I'm going to start to get medium bullish, I guess you could say. It's a little more than mild. And of course, once price breaks out of the all-time high, then I'm going to just be bullish. And that'll be that. And, it's paid off to think this way because obviously we saw some near breakouts, and then of course price, came back down. And so not really swinging for the fences on these until we get above the all-time high. And I know a lot of people who, they're like, it's October and it's the bull market and this and the other. Okay. I don't disagree with you in that sense. But the reality is we have to pay attention to price action. And the rest of it is all good, but the price action is what really matters, right? What happens on the chart? Now it happened as much in the past. You remember, we only have a handful of bull markets to look at. We only have 4 halvings and only 3 prior halvings to look at as far as how they behaved. Not a lot of data points. So what we really have to do is pay attention to the price action. Let that tell us what's going on. Now, to look at the algos, high time frame bullish, right now having a pullback. So, let's just see what happens. This is what I think is going to happen. And again, this could be, this is subject to change. But I can see on the daily, after that rejection, their price is going to have to pull back a bit. It's just how it is. And the most likely area for price to pull back on the daily, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Yeah, it's going to be right about here. It's about this 60,000. And I know a lot of people don't want to see price go back down there. I know that's an important level here historically over the last several months. But there's a real good chance price goes down there. And let's go ahead and throw a fib on this most recent high time frame extension. And that would be like a 382 pullback sitting at about 61,000. So not much higher than 60,000. If price bounces there, that's actually pretty bullish, right? And this is looking at a high time frame. You can see a pullback right now in the price action. So this is, kind of a mid time frame. Price pulls back and heads up like that. So it's not a pure impulse. But if you were to go on like the weekly, that's going to look like a pure impulse. So I'm okay with looking at it that way with that fib that I just threw on there. But I am going to also take a look here at this, because that's a pure impulse, pretty pure on the daily. There's a pullback on the way up, but essentially, again, on a higher time frame, that's going to be a pure impulse. And the 618 matches at 382 right here. And again, we have some price action even on that impulse, on the high time frame impulse. You see price came up, pulled back down, kept going, right? Well, if that's the case, if price were to continue down, and I think it might do that, we might see it come down here, grab that 382/618 that we just mapped out, and then possibly head back up. So we're going to, as we always do, as I always do, we're going to go level by level, and we're going to go ahead and just not, worry so much about what's going to happen in a month, but more worry about what's going to happen in a few hours or a few days. Via the Guerilla, sir, how are you? Yeah, well, we spent the whole kind of live show talking about Bitcoin. We didn't go into any indexes or anything like that. We didn't get any requests. So, that's that.
Where's the BTC price at, like 60?
It's at 90,000. That's fucking
No way.
It's at $63,700.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, we tried to break out of kind of a local high. And it did break above, and then it got rejected and thrown back down below. So we got like a fake out breakout. So I'm expecting price to go back towards. It might not make it all the way down to 60,500. But like that's basically a good spot for it to go from a structural standpoint. Is about $60,600. So if price can make it down there, we might see a bounce and then start to head back up. But right now I'm flat. Like if you look at the screen, you can see I have where at least my own assessment of being bullish or not in the short term. Now, high time frame, I'm bullish. I still think price is going to go up. I think we're going to see an all-time high of at least 95,000. And I mean, technically, it could go as high as 200. Or I mean, there's kind of a sky's the limit scenario. But there is going to be, I think, for many reasons, a pretty strong resistance at 100,000. And there's always that chance that the entire community gets disappointed because price doesn't go above that. So Personally, I think I might be taking off some profit just below 100,000. And like, for example, holding another token, like say Solana, whatever it is. I might be looking to watch Solana as Bitcoin approaches, and if Bitcoin starts to stall out at 100,000 and doesn't break above for like a while, say, oh, it might be time to take some profit out. I mean,
Yeah.
that's if y'all want to be moon boys and hang on and round trip it down to zero or whatever. That's not for me to tell you what to do, but I'm personally gonna maybe take off some profit at that point. So we are now at the end of the live lab for the public V. So of course, we want to hear your input on the Bitcoin price, and once you're done, we'll flip over to the private live lab.
No, it's going to be range lock like this for a little while.
That's what I thought too. Like maybe for a couple weeks.
Yep. That's what it's looking like.
It's October. I mean, from a calendar standpoint, it should be gearing up to head up. But I think we just have like you had told us about, what do you call it? A lot of artificial supply being created by the ETFs, and that's where a lot of money that would have gone into Bitcoin to push the price up is now going into these gay ETFs, and so Bitcoin's going to be absorbed. All that upwards price action is going to be absorbed, and you say, oh well, it's a spot ETF. So they have to buy Bitcoin in order for you to buy the ETF, and I think we know that may not be true.
Yes, and I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you.
Right. I mean, it's if you think that BlackRock and all the masters of the universe are going to continue to buy Bitcoin so you can buy their product, if you think they're going to not take advantage of some paper bullshit so that they can sell you something that they don't have. Like, if you don't think that's going on, then I got a bridge to sell you for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, you want to get us over to the private?
Yeah, guys, listen, don't sit there on the sidelines wondering if this is for you. Join us in the private lab. Make it happen for yourself. It is one of the places where we not only teach you how to trade, but to trade and to build the algorithms that trade on your behalf 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Take it away, Cowboy.
Join us or die.